Okay, Likutei Halacha, Silchas Bircot Hashachar, Halacha Hey. We're holding Basif Tes Zayin. Number 16. So, Vayen Ba'idra Parshas Nasa. You should so there are two idras, special occasions in the Zohar Kodesh in which Reb Shimon Bar Yochai has revealed the most profound secrets of Kabbalah. One of them is called the Idra Rabbah, the great Idra, and one's called the Idra Zuta. And it's in Pashas Hazinu. That's the Stalkus of Shimon Bar Yochai. And the first Idra is in Pashas Nasa. And it says like this, Mevor, the Is Metzach, the Is Metzach. It says over there that there is a forehead, and there is a forehead. Now, we explained once before that the level of the eyes in the face, both physically and spiritually, is the first level of cognition. You see, you know, you get it. You know, then you can hear, you can smell, and you can even talk, you know, as you go lower and lower and lower. Then it goes down to the hands, you can even do, and the legs you can even move. You know, so it starts from the eyes is the first level of awareness, of cognition. Now, beyond what happens beyond the eyes, you have the forehead, it's beyond the eyes. We know that all the thinking actually takes place beyond, above the eyes. I mean, the eyes is already the lowest. This is called the level of the Kesser, the level of the Metzach specifically represents the spheres of Kesser. It represents, the eyes represents Chochmah. Chochmah is a level of what they call a non-verbal thought. The Bina consciousness is a level of verbal thoughts, when you actually think with words. You know, the Chochmah is that like, you know everything, but like, let's say that you know how to install an electrical board, all right? It's not like you have a set of instructions in your mind. You just know it. You could explain it step by step. You do this, you do this, you do this, and you learned it step by step. But when you know it, you don't know it with words. You just know it. Driving. You know how to drive. No. I mean, yeah, the driving experience is broken down to steering and into pressing the gas pedal, the brake pedal, and putting it into park, and into drive, and into this, and into that, and you can break it down to different kind of different assignments, tasks, which comprise the drive. But you know how to drive in one knowledge which is non-verbal. You can explain it with words if you want to, but in your own mind, you don't have to say, okay, now you have to turn the wheel to the left, and you should turn this way. It's not a verbal thought. It doesn't happen on a verbal level. It's called a level of Chochmah. It's called Chochmah consciousness. But sometimes you have, and there's a lot of thoughts that you think that you like something, you don't like something, bothers you, doesn't bother, whatever it is. And though you're aware of what you're thinking, it's not words. You're not thinking words. but you're actually aware of what you're thinking when it comes down to what they call a Bina consciousness. Bina consciousness is a verbal consciousness where you realize what it is that either you're upset about, you feel upset, or you feel insulted, or you feel happy. You realize I feel upset. This is Bina consciousness. But beyond that, there's a level of now. The level of Chokhmah is the level of the eyes. As it is said about Adam and Chava, Vayipakhu inei shnehem, and the eyes of both of them were opened. Rashi says, Al Shem HaChokhmah ne'ema. It talks about the Chokhmah consciousness. The eyes represent the Chokhmah consciousness. The brain, beyond the Chokhmah, beyond the thinking, is the will. The will is a drive that does not depend on Chokhmah. You may want things that, a person is his will to live, or his will to whatever it is the person wants is not, when it comes to the level of will, is a level of beyond Chokhmah. Like when a person wants to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they threaten that person that if he doesn't din Avodah Zarah, if he doesn't Avodah Zarah, they're going to kill him. The level of Chokhmah, there could be a debate. Chokhmah, Bina, whatever it is, there could be a debate. Should you, shouldn't you? Maybe you should just make belief as if yes, or as if no, whatever it is. Live another day, it's like that. But on the level of Ratzain, if you want to, there's nothing they can do to you. You can give yourself over and sacrifice yourself and nothing. That's the level of Ratzon. It's beyond the Chokhmah, it's beyond the Bina. This is called the Metzach. When somebody wants something, it's called a Metzach. So when the Navi was admonishing Am Yisrael and said, you behaved like a loose woman, you refused to be shamed. That's what the admonishment of the Navi. So he says, Metzach isha zayna hayalach. You had the forehead of a loose woman. You refuse to shame. When somebody is bold-faced, is why the other person is mechubadik or whatever it is in situation, but just out of sheer boldness, what they call bold-faced, bold-facedness, whatever you want to call it. It's called azas ponim and azas metzach. The bold face is az ponim, sounds a chutzpahdik. But az metzach means that the ratzon, the initial ratzon, because I want. Why did you kill a person? Because I want. This is az metzach. This is the azas metzach. No. There says, no. The level of the metzach, the level of the forehead, is the level of the kesel. The level of the ratzon, of the volition, of the will. Now the Zohar says, is metzach ve'is metzach. There is forehead and there is forehead. Haino, ki bchinas metzach dizer anpin. We say that each supernal persona is divided to all five of them, right? It's every aspect is divided to all aspects. So all 10 spheres, each one includes all 10 spheres. If we're dividing the 10 spheres, after during the stage of Tikkun, where they split down to what they call the 5 partsufim, the 5 supernal personas, which is, the grandfather, the father, the mother, the son, and the daughter, which means Yisrael Saba. This is Abba, Ima, Zer, Anpin, and Malchus, which is a different elimination of the 10 Sefirot. The Saba is the Keser, Abba is the Chochma, and the Ima is the Bina, and the Zer, the son, the Zer Anpin, is the 6 Sefirot from Chesed to Yesod, and the Malchus is Malchus, that's the daughter. That's in all the old Sipurei Maises, when it talks about the daughter, that's the Malchus. That's the that's the ultimately, when you're talking about the spheres of from the Keser to the Malchus, in what you call the intellectual process or in the physical process, the Keser is the cause, the primary cause, and the Malchus is the ultimate effect. Everything in between is the mechanism that brings about the initial will, I want to do something, to the Malchus that actually it's done. So, you want to move. Okay. The Keser is the cause. That's the will. You want to move, okay?
Because it's the highest, it's above.
It's the will. It's beyond the cause. Before you decide that you want to move from here to somewhere else, okay? So first comes, you want to move.
I want to learn how to play flute. I want to.
Doesn't matter the center, but
Yeah.
let's say you want. That's the initial cause. Everything that happens afterwards is a derivative of the initial cause. That's the kesem. That's the metzach. That's the rotzen. That's now. At the end, the actual move that is taking place, that's the malchus. In between the rotzen and the cause and the effect, there are different machinations. You're planning it, you're calling them over, you're doing this, you're doing that, and the whole 9 yards. The whole 9 yards. So now, within the actual move, let's say that you want to move, okay? So first of all, you have the overall will, desire to move. You make a decision, where you're going to move, how you're going to move, this, that, whatever. Okay, now, you decide to hire a mover. So you hire a mover, you're doing this, you're doing that. Now, within the act of hiring the mover, okay, you're checking out different movers. You decide which mover do you want, which mover you don't want, okay? And then you want to move you want to take a certain mover because the price is better, because the reputation is better, or whatever it is. So suddenly you see that there is another Ratzon involved inside. It's not the big Ratzon to move. It's a more particular Ratzon to take this mover or that mover, or to want to wrap things up this way, or not to wrap things up, or different wants, different retinas, different wills within the big picture. The big I want to move. So you see, the inside of it, the different details also include their own particular wants, their own particular wills, that you want to take this mover, you take this mover, chula v'chula v'chula. It's all, so we're saying every single particle of the whole picture includes all the different parts. In other words, there is the altogether well. And then for every specific detail, the willalach, the different retainalach, that govern that particular detail. So you have the total 10 spheres, and every sphere is also its own little 10 spheralach inside. You want it, you're thinking about it, you understand it, you know it, you decide, you give, you take, you this, it. Each one has, it's all divided into all of them altogether. So there is, in the division of the five partzufim, you have the big Metzach, big Kahuna, the Metzach Harotz and the Rav, and of the Kesser, of that. Now, each one of the Abba, Ima, and Zeranpin, and they also have their own individual Metzach. They have their own individual will, that drives that particular, within this grand scheme of things. So he says like this: Is Metzach ve'is Metzach. There is a forehead and there is a forehead. Hainu ki b'chinas Metzach de Zeranpin. The aspect of Metzach, of forehead, of Zeranpin, which is the six sefirot, from Chesed to Yesod, 24 dino ilo mishtakhin. You find 24 heavenly courts, 24 heavenly judgments. V'kad isgal yaha metzcha, and when that particular metzach, that particular forehead is revealed, isaru kol marel dedina. When this particular will is exposed, all the strong judgments, all he calls it the masters of judgment, are all revealed. In other words, the dinim are expressed. V'chule al chayav alma, on those, all the sinners of the world. Hadu dichtiv, and this is what is said. Umetzach isha zoyna hoyalach, and a forehead of a loose woman, of a harlot you had, mount likol. This is the extreme measure of the prohibition of chometz v'pesach. Why? Ki toikef adin shel b'chinas metzach, that huge din of the metzach, hazeh shemisham achidas Yisrael achra b'klipos, that the strength, the awesome strength of the judgment of this metzach, which is where the Sitra Achra takes all its strength, the Klippas take all their strength. It is impossible to sweeten. It's impossible to neutralize it, to ameliorate it. It is impossible to sweeten it unless, of course, you reveal a much higher metzach of favor, of chesed. Because what is this metzach? This metzach of judgment is basically, when it comes down to Zer Anpin, which means it's already in the works, it's in the system. Like, I went yesterday to Hotzah Lapoal for something. On Hotzah Lapoal, you can't tell them any stories. Once it comes there, they don't understand any stories. You pay. You don't want the guy, you think the guy doesn't, you sue him in court. It's not to do with it. Here, you pay. When it comes down, what? There is the Rotzain. This is this Galus Rotzain. This is where anybody who owes has to pay. Period. This is called this Galus Metzach of Zer Anpin. When it's already within the Bria of Zer Anpin, it has to be, it's din. It's din. No, don't tell me no stories, no hanky-panky. You pay. That's it. If you don't pay, you don't this, if you don't go to Chutzlars, you go to jail, whatever it is, you pay. And this is called Gal. Now, the only way to ameliorate it, to sweeten it, is Galus Metzach HaRotzin. If there is a Haris Galus of favor, of Chesed, which is way beyond it, that can sort of like take it out of the system. The president is going to pardon you. If the president pardons you, what can you do? I mean, the judges, the Tzala Pol, they can do whatever they want. But why does the president want to pardon? Because he wants to. He just wants to. This is Metzach HaRotzon of favor. The only way that you can sweep, once it's in the realm of the Tzala Pol, forget about it. The only way that you can undo it is through a pardon that comes from way beyond that. And it's totally arbitrary because he wants to. So you see the revelation of the dinim in the level of Zer Anpin. It means the din is already in the system. There's a will in the system to exert judgment on those that are in debt, those that owe. This is what it says here in Pchinas Metzach Dizer Anpin, 24 Dina Eloah, 24 supernal judgments are to be found. And when this particular Metzach, this particular Rotzen is unleashed, is all the tools and faculties of the Tzala Pol, of the I'm just repeating.
Yeah.
So it's just that we get the picture a little bit clearer of what is going on here, so it doesn't remain just words in Aramaic, so we understand like what's the process, pachot yoter, according to the way that we can understand it. All the masters of judgment are unleashed. Al chayav alma, all those that are chayavim, all the sinners, all those that owe. A forehead of a harlot you had. So you dared not do what you needed to do. So bam, this is what's getting. So this is Godel Isus of Chometz Pesach. The only way, because this Tokef Adin of Pchinas Bis Metzach, it comes from all the Chizis and all the Klippas come from there. And it's impossible to ameliorate it, impossible to neutralize it. Ki Imadei is Galus Metzach HaRotzon. You need the pardon from a whole different kind of appellate court, different kind of a higher court. It says the only way, it says this is where we speak about the time where the Tzala Pol comes into action, the expression of the will to justice comes out. All those that are sinners, are doomed at that time, except for that time, when the tefillas of Am Yisrael, they go all the way up to Atik Yomi. Atik Yomi, that's the Saba, that's the grandfather, that's the Metzach, that's the Metzach HaRotzon, that's the Kesser, that's the president, that's all the way up.
Atik Yomin?
Atik Yomin. Atik Yomin means it literally it means two things. It means ancient of days. It also Atik also means that it's removed, but basically means the ancient of days. That's the Saba. Ubai lerachame al benoi, and the Atik Yomin wants to have rachmanis, wants to have favor on his son. He wants to pardon his children. Gale mitzcha de rava de ravin. And what happens is it exposes the metzach, the will of the rava de ravin, of the will of wills. The president decides to pardon. This is outside the justice system. Justice system is Zer Anpin. That's within the system. The presidential pardon of Rava de Ravin is beyond the system. He decides to pardon. So the person can be who knows what. Pardon, it's fair, everything is wiped off. It doesn't matter afterwards what's the... So he says, regularly, when people are sinners, you know, they bring about the wrath of the demon. You don't pay what you need to pay. You get to, you know, what's it?
Yeah.
So he says, it is impossible to sweeten this except with the time when the tefillos of Am Yisrael come to Atik Yomin, and he and the Atik Yomin wants to have mercy and have favor for his children. So what he does, he reveals the metzach of Rava de Ravin, the will of wills. Pesach, that's why during Pesach, שעדיין אין בנו כוח להמשיך ב-12 פדיון הנ"ל. In Pesach, we still didn't get the Torah yet. There's not in Matan Torah yet. It's not the Kriyas Yamsuf didn't happen yet. So we don't have the koyach to cause the expression and the revealing of the Rava de Ravin, of that highest pardon, you know, that of them all. We can't do it yet. אין לנו כוח להמשיך ב-12 פדיון הנ"ל, that redemption שהוא על ידי סגלוס מצח הרוצן. We can still not reveal, you know, the forehead of the rotzin. על כן צריך לבאר החמץ לגמרי. That's why you have to take chametz and completely away. Nothing, not a drop. You're still within the system. You cannot owe a penny. You cannot transgress. Chametz is transgressing, is owing, is it? So you're still within the system. If within the system you're still within this little chametz, bam, you're unleashing the whole system on you.
Amalek. Amalek. You have to eradicate all of Amalek.
Okay. Here we're talking about it's not the chametz is not Amalek.
No.
In Pesach it's the Isser, but after Pesach it's not an Isser. It's not Amalek. Amalek is also La'ilam. It's not Amalek. You have to totally eradicate chametz. And the prohibition against the chametz is very severe. Bali roy, bali matzi cannot be seen, cannot be found. Ki chametz, the word chametz is oisius metzach behepech atvan. The same letters of chametz is the same letters of metzach, only the letters are switched. Mem tzadik ches. Because the chametz is really a trickle down manifestation of the strength of the dinim of the metzach of Zeir Anpin. That of the metzach of Zeir Anpin, of the Tzal HaPo'al, of the this is where it comes from. You have to understand that Rotzain, there are two kinds of wills. There's a will to exert justice. This is when the metzach is this root of dinim, of judgments. Hey, it's not hefkers, it's not hefker. There's a metzach of favor, of mercy, of the kesser, where even if there is balagan, there is problems, you know, you can have a presidential pardon. That's what he says, is metzach, there is metzach, there is metzach, and there is metzach. If you interpret the word metzach as rotzon, as will, as desire, there is desire for justice and is desire for mercy. These are two separate desires. Within the system, there is the desire for justice. Once the desire of justice is evoked, the only thing that can wipe it off is a desire for you know, the higher desire for pardon. That's a supernal. During Pesach we still don't have koyach, you know, to evoke the high redemption of the metzach harotzon rad ravin of favor, of mercy. We can't do that. So the chometz then represents the revelation of the full wrath of the judicial system. It's the lower Metzach. That's Metzach the Zeranpin. 24 judgments. So, if you have any kind of chometz, it's akin to getting into the Amazonas River where piranhas swim with a wound. The chometz is like a drop of blood. Forget about it. All right? Chometz and Pesach. A drop of blood. It's like a drop. Mashu. Piranhas, that's what they live on. They're just waiting for that. You know, so that's why. So you take if you want to say what's it, Chometz and Pesach is a drop of blood in the water of shark-infested waters or piranha-infested waters. Mashu bali roy bali motzach. Mashu chometz. Bam! The feeding frenzy.
I'm convinced. He convinced me.
All right, this is because the chometz, it comes from the dinim shel Metzach. V'ata b'Pesach, and now in Pesach you have to totally mevatel, and no, you just completely eradicate it. Why? We don't have the koach right now in Pesach to flip it over and make it, bring it to the kedusha. רק על ידי גודל עוצם האורס כל המויכים שנכנסים פעם אחת באל שימורים, only because of the immense illumination of all the intellects that come in one shot in Leil Shimur, the first night of Pesach. על ידי זה יש לנו כוח לבטל לבאו לגמרי. This is how we have a koach to totally cancel the chometz, to totally mevar the chometz, to totally eradicate the chometz, and it cannot be found, it cannot be seen, in our domain at all. This we can do. But we cannot flip it over to become kodesh. This we can't do yet. The koach of the light of Pesach, of Seder, is enough so we can chuck it away from us. But we still don't have the koach to ultimately give the tikkun of making the chometz into something which is kosher, something which is kodesh. This we can't do yet. The chometz during Pesach is mamish the forehead of a loose woman. It's tachlis adinim. Shutokev zomas mitzrayim. That's the very crux of the filth of Mitzrayim, ervas haaretz. That's the shame of the land. The shmad. This is shmad. This is like el acher. This is a foreign god. Kfiris is heresy. Kisnus v'kfiris, because heresy and fornication is really dependent upon each other. A person cannot do something unless he believes he can get away with it. And so it's the mitzvah sfira soimer, but through the mitzvah sfira soimer that we count afterward, shesofrim shisha yomim at shvi shel Pesach, we count 6 days until the shvi shel Pesach. We already started to prepare ourselves to receive the Torah. We already bring down a beginning of the sweetening of the supernal pardon, the Hashachar from the Saba, the presidential pardon. This is the Atik which is revealed. We said that when the Atik is revealed, then the presidential pardon goes along. Even if you're not 100%, it's okay. You can. V'azu misham haya kriyas yamsuf. The minute that the Metzach HaRotzoin of Atiko Kadisha, of the Keser Elyon was revealed, the first effect was that the sea parted. The sea was torn. And it says, Mati Tzakela, that we said in the last week's Pasha, Mati Tzakela, the Bnei Yisrael v'Yisau, the Zohar says, what are you screaming to me? The Zohar says, Batiko Talia Milso. That matter hangs on a tiko. Don't scream to me. Screaming to me is for the low appellate courts. Now it's already in a tiko. כן, אחר כך הותר החומץ, then the chometz is mutar. כי נמתק על די האורס מצח הרוצן, because now it's already sweetened through the illumination of the metzach of favor. Let me just make sure that nothing is burning over here. Oh, she didn't put anything on. Sorry. Thought that maybe there was a pot on the stove that needed attending. I apologize. I'm sorry. This is Kriyas Yamsuf, ואחר כך הותר החומץ, then the chometz is mutar. כי נמתק על ידי ארץ ויצר, בשבועס, על ידי קבולת התורה, when we receive the Torah, שאז Yikor is Golos Metzach HaRotzon. Now the Metzach HaRotzon, the forehead of the supernal will is exposed completely. Al ken az mitzvah lavi chometz daika lekom. And now the mitzvah is dafka to bring chometz. Kmo shekozov chametz te'afena. You should bake them chometz. The Kol HaChag HaKodesh and the entire holy holiday of Shavuos Nikra Shtei Alechem Shabim Chometz. It's called after these two loaves that comes, Chometz loaves. Kmo shekosu leavened loaves. Kmo shekosu Ba'akrivchem Mincha Chado Shel Hashem B'Shvuosechem. It says because as then is this galus of metzach harotzon, of the forehead of favor, of will of favor, of pardon. V'az hachometz shehu oisius metzach. We said before that is the same letters as metzach. Yenikoso metzach harotzon. Now instead of getting its chayas directly from the metzach of judgment, now chometz receives the same, it becomes an antenna for a very different kind of broadcast. Metzach harotzon, this brings out all the ameliorations, all the pardons, all the redemptions. This is the supernal redemption. This is the thing that Adrabeh takes the chometz from the lowest of the low, from Shmad, from Znus, from all the way from low, and brings it all the way to Ratzon. With Gaia Gerim, this makes Gerim, then they become Jewish. Shekol Zehu B'chinas Shavuos, this is represented in the holiday of Shavuos. That's why Dafka you bring chometz to Korban. It's a shame to be continued tomorrow.